let's see different types of logics are present in a web applications, web resource programs, or what are the different types of logics that can be handled by the different web resource program of a web applications. So as of my knowledge, there are totally 7 different types of logics are present. The first one is request processing logic. Second is form validation logic. Third is UI, that is presentation logic. Fourth is business logic, or you can call it service logic. Fifth is persistent logic. Sixth is session management, and seventh is middleware services. Okay. So, what is the meaning of request processing logic? Uh, whenever you gather, whenever you gather various details from the client generated request, or maybe from the form page, or maybe the hyperlink, or maybe any other services. Okay, by using the request object, that is called as request processing logic. Means along with my request, what are the data is coming and how you are carrying that data. Okay, how you are gathering the data is nothing but a request processing logic. Okay, so it gathers various details or collects various details from client from client generated generated request by using by using request object by using request object in JSP. What is the meaning of form validation logic? Before going to submit any HTML form page from the client window or browser window, I, as a programmer responsibility, okay, that whatever the data has been entered by the user is valid and correct. It's valid and correct. Means if I'm entering the data, suppose date of birth in DD, MM, YY format, and user trying to enter in different format, that may generate the ambiguity between your business logic and persistent logic. To overcome that issue, or maybe some fields may come null. Okay, that need to take care, so that you can handle by using form validation logic. So it validates patterns and format of the HTML form data. Okay, fine. So suppose take example, a text box, enter your username. You have not entered username and you are clicking on login button. Is it valid? Why are you sending a empty request data to the server? So before going to submit the button, all the data must be entered by the user correctly. That you can take care by using form validation logic. Next is presentation logics. So presentation logic use user interface to the end user and also formats the results generated by the business logic. So it gives the user interface UI or user interface to end user to end user to end user, and also formats the results generated by the business logic. Okay, fine. Next we shall see about what is business logic. What is a business logic? So the main logic of the application that generates the results by processing the request inputs. By processing the request input is called as business logic, or you can call service logic. So the main logic of the application of the application that generates results by processing the request. Next, persistence logic. What is the meaning of persistent logic? The logic that interacts with the database software. The logic that interacts with the database software to manipulate the data, to handle the data, or to perform CRUD operations, to retrieve, to insert, to update, to delete. So that logic, that code is called as persistence logic. The logic that interacts with the database software software to manipulate database data, database data, or you can call CURD operations. CURD operations. Okay, fine. What is the meaning of session management, guys? Log in to log out. What are the data you want to track within the sessions? That is called as session management. So let me add here session management logic. So the logic that remembers the client data. What is the meaning of client data? The logged in username. Okay, throughout the session, the logic that remembers the client data across the multiple requests during the session by using the session tracking technique is called as session management logic. So the logic that remembers client data across the multiple multiple request during the session by using session tracking technique session tracking techniques. Okay, is called as session management logic. What is the meaning of next logic is middleware services. What is the middleware services? Apart from these logics, your web applications need some third-party services. Okay, like session tracking in JSP. Okay, and maybe you want to handle a perfect and accurate web application management. In that case, those middleware services will be provided by whom? The appropriate container. So the additional services applied on the application to make our application more perfect and accurate is nothing but a middleware services. So here in the case of session management, let me add one note point so that we'll have clear idea. The way we have learned session tracking in Servlet, in the same way we can work with the session tracking in JSP. Okay, session tracking in JSP programming is very much similar. It's very much similar to session tracking in session tracking of solid tutorials So please note this point and complete the session tracking from the solids if you are not completed it. Okay, fine. Now we shall see different models of developing Java web application. Java web applications. Okay, fine. So different models of developing Java web applications. So what are the different models of developing Java application, guys? You can call model 1 and model 2. Model 1 and model 2. So one side I'm writing model 1. You can put the line here. This side one model 1. This side model 2. Model 1 follows legacy approach. Model 2 follows MVC architecture. Okay. So here let me write model 1. On one side I'll write model 2. Okay. Model 2. So okay, you can add here model 1 and model 2. So you can make it two lines. This side one line and this side second line. Okay. Fine. So in the model 1, we need to use either only solids or only JSP programs as a main web resource programs of a Java web applications. Either use solids or either use only JSPs in model 1. But in the case of model 2, I can work with the MVC1 and MVC2 again. Okay, I'll write both. Wait. So we need to use we need to use either only, actually I may not get, this spaces may not be enough for me this side, so I'll write model 2 at the bottom. Okay, I'll skip this part because this space is not enough for me. Control X. I will write model 2 at the bottom after the completion of this one, but you can write parallelly in notebook. Okay, so we need to use either only solid, either only solids, and only JSP programs as main web resource programs of Java web application of Java applications. Okay, and in this model one, if solid programs are used as web resource programs, the JSP program must not be used up. Okay, means what this? The meaning of this statement is what? The meaning of this statement is what? If you are using JSP, you should not use solids. If you are using solids, you should not use JSP. But this is not recommended to use. But this is possible that you can develop. Okay. In this model, if solids programs are used, then are used as web resource program, as web resource programs, then JSP programs must not be used, must not be used, and vice versa. And in the case of model 2, I'll write here I'll make MUC1 architecture, 2.1 I'll make one side, and I'll make 2.2 other side. 2.2, that is MUC2 architecture, model view controller 2 architectures. MVC1 architecture. Okay, one side write by MVC1 architectures, other side you can write MVC2 architectures. What is MVC2 architecture? We shall see now. So there are two types of architecture, guys. There are two types of architectures. Okay, one is MVC1 architecture, one is MVC2 architectures. So I'll explain one by one. So to develop MVC1, MVC2, MVC2 architectures. Okay, architecture based web application. Web application. We need to write. We need to write. We need to write and work with multiple technologies. Multiple technologies. Technologies by having multiple layers. By having multiple layers in web application. In web applications development. Okay, what do you mean of MVC, guys? Already you know. Model, view, and here is what? Controller, right? Right. So what is the your persistent logic is what? Model layer. Okay. Your presentation logic is what? What? View layer, right? And your business logic is what? Controller layer. Clear? Okay. Okay. So your presentation, business or service logic, or persistent logic. Okay, fine. Next, we shall see a web application. We shall see a web applications. Model one, architecture based web application, on model one architecture. On model one architecture. Okay. Now we shall see a web application on a model one architectures. For this purpose, I need to draw a diagram so that you can able to understand the flow of execution. Where I do have a browser window. Browser window gives the request either a solid or either a JSP. Because what model one tells to you, we need to have either solid or either JSP. So I will use either solid or either JSP. Okay, and that model one contains that either solids or only JSP contains request processing logic. It also contains form validation logic. It also contains business logic, persistent logic, session management logic, middleware logic. Okay, I will with a flow of execution I will explain. And that that single solids or single JSP is responsible to interact with the database softwares to perform CRUD operations, bring the results, process it, and send the response back to browser window. Okay. Whereas MEC1, MEC2 architectures separates with the others. Okay, fine. That we shall see. Time permits. I will go ahead, but it will take time.